Dog names are racist, scholars. Academics recently applauded a social psychology quarterly study purporting to show a disparity in the time dogs were adopted based on racial associations with animals' names. Of course, so we've apparently solved all the problems in the world. Now that we're complaining about the names of our pets, that's what we have left in the world is to complain about the names of our pets. We've arrived. We figured it out. That's all that we have to worry about now is what we name animals. Then yeah, I think we're there. I'm sure this is going to be totally racist. Of course, it said it's going to be racist against white-sounding names in here somewhere. Yeah, white names. Thank you all for stopping by. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed and find me on Rumble and on Twitter. Let's get into this article. White names, according to the study, resulted in shorter adoption times compared to black names. Okay. The correlations were largely concentrated around pit bulls, a breed that is stereotyped as dangerous and racialized as black, according to the study. Below are examples of academics' reactions to the study. Temple University, Timothy Welbeck, director of the Center for Anti-Racism Research and an assistant professor of instruction, retweeted the story posing the rhetorical question, why is everything about race? Yes, I wonder that myself, Timothy. Why is everything got to be about race? Because everything is about race. No, Mr. Welbeck. You are a professor, and I'm assuming you got your degree from some sort of prestigious college, so therefore you're functionally retarded. But that being said, it's only about race because non-whites want it to be all about race. When sheltered dogs have racialized names, what happens to their adoption outcomes? In a new paper with Bradley Montgomery, we tracked dogs for 6 months and found that their names did in fact matter. A short. Okay, well. Yeah, he answered his own questions because it's all about race. Welbeck told Campus Reform that something as seemingly as innocuous as dog adoption can have lasting racial implications. University of Texas at Austin, assistant professor of sociology Chantal Haley commented in a now deleted tweet obtained by Campus Reform, anti-blackness is so pervasive it even expands to dog names. Haley conducts research at the intersections of race and ethnicity, stratification, urban sociology, education, and criminology. University of Akron. Fascinating research. Amazing idea. Is that Daniela? Okay, I'm not going to pronounce that last name. Tweeted regarding the study of assistant professor of sociology and criminal justice. It's not, I'm sure. That person whose name I can't pronounce. Work focuses on gardening in incarcerated settings, women in a criminal justice injustice system, and qualitative methods. Yeah, that sounds like that's something that's going to be groundbreaking. Bump. Look, if you're studying gardening of prison inmates, female prison inmates exclusively, if that's what your focus is, you don't know anything about race. That's just, I mean, how does that follow? That you're studying female inmates and therefore you know everything about race. Don Moynihan, professor at Georgetown McCourt School of Public Policy, opined that the study was an interesting example of how racialized names still evoke bias even when dealing with non-humans. Really? Well, will you tell me what these names are? Will you tell me what these names are? Because they did a study in Freakonomics. They tried to say that black-sounding names meant that you didn't get a job, whereas white-sounding names meant that you did get a job. But then they did a study to counter that and show that names that are still white but weird or show lower class indicate that you're not going to get the job too. So it really has nothing to do with racializing these names, but it has to do with whether or not people have a certain thought about who might be owner of that name. You know, if you have a dog and it's named Throat Slitter, maybe you don't get that dog because you're gonna have to call that name whenever you want to call the dog. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Moynihan provided comments to Campus Reform expressing his view that there exists a relatively sophisticated body of work in this area that needs to be accounted for to understand the contribution. Yeah, I'm sure it's very sophisticated. Oh, look, Dr. Neff. I bet Dr. Neff isn't racist at all. Chief Diversity Officer. Chief Diversity Officer. She's like super racist. That's also like, I am the most racist person ever. But that's what Chief Diversity Officer means. Neff Walker. Oh, Dr. Neff. She goes by her first name, Dr. Neff. described the study as must-read work and fascinating research that supports the resiliency of racialized names and the pervasiveness of anti-blackness. Walker has written on the intersection of race, gender, and sexual orientation in intercollegiate sports and hegemonic masculinity and the institutionalized bias of women in men's collegiate basketball. What is this institutionalized bias of women in men's basketball? I mean, it's men's basketball. Shiri Noy, assistant professor of sociology, applauded the study authors for their cutting-edge work. Natasha just doing her cutting-edge work as usual. Congrats to you and Bradley. Yeah, okay, Shiri Noy. And that looks like that's the end of this article. We could maybe find this. Let's see if it takes me over there. Onto Twitter. Hey, what do you know? Here we go. Names, pause, racialized names for adoption. And, oh, here it is. Is this the abstract? So you can easily get to this abstract. I'm going to leave a link to the article in the description below. But, this is just more... This person obviously wanted an article. The person who did the research obviously wanted to put out a paper. They wanted this acknowledgement, and it's really easy just to go, hey, look, it was racist. It's racist. What are these names? I mean, I really want to know what the names are. Does it say in here at all what the names are? Wait. Maybe it has to do more with the language that we speak. Maybe that the names are actually Anglo-Saxon. And then, since we all speak English in this country, supposedly. We're supposed to, anyway. So maybe it comes down to that. Maybe it comes down to the language spoken. But we have this right here. So filthy white savages having dogs as pets now considered to be racist. Of course it is, because everything is racist. This is from September 2021. The author of an article on the non-profit United Wildlife Union site, who goes by the handle Katie6. I think that's Katie. Is it Kate or Katie? I don't know. Thinks that whites having dogs as pets should be considered racist. The site states that United Wildlife Union is a nonprofit and volunteer-based group that aims to share and create content that furthers our two primary goals: protect animals' lives and further social justice. Looking at this site, I wonder if the author, not sure if that's a real name, and photo shows what appears to be a white man, may be the only member of this organization, since there are few articles, and they are all written by Katie6. Oh yeah, it is Katie. Okay, so the short author bio states Katie, even though it's spelled Katie, is a father of two and a lifelong conservationist. When not committing time to the local zoo, Katie spends his time creating and disseminating educational material for local schools that help kids understand why protecting animals and LGBTQIA+ #& rights is so important. Is it just me, or is one of these things not like the other? Yeah. It's obvious the alphabet/SJW groups, backed by our tribal buddies, will use any forum to pass on their sick anti-family, anti-white doctrine to children. Yep, they will. Here are some quotes from Katie's article. Why white people owning dogs is racist. Okay. According to a bioarchaeologist, Gregor Larson, the domestication of dogs started in two places, Eastern and Western Eurasia. The Eurasian people worked nonstop to gain them and maintain the trust with these gorgeous creatures, but it was all stolen from them. The greedy actions of white people stained the history books forever. Shortly after the Eurasian people worked so hard to train and bond with wolves, most of them were shipped off and given to Europeans. These filthy white savages took the work and credit from the Eurasian people and branded these magnificent creatures as their own. The need for white people to claim pre-made or pre-discovered things is not isolated to just this incident. Yeah, nobody ever claims anything that white people have created at all. I mean, never, ever, ever. If you're watching this right now on a computer or a smartphone and you're not white, you know what the answer is. You took that from white people. Countless times in history, whites have been caught stealing the work of talented people of color for their own success. Honestly speaking, we shouldn't be surprised that white people would steal the domestication of dogs as well. Based on historical knowledge, this behavior will not slow down within the white community. Like I said, you've never taken anything from white people. What about blue jeans? You wearing blue jeans out there? Those are invented by white people. Levi Strauss is a white man. What about the light bulb? You used a light bulb? Who invented that? Who did all this groundbreaking work in electricity to allow you to see at night when you're at home? If you are white and own a dog, you are openly participating and advocating for cultural appropriation and colonization. Reinforcing this culture is not acceptable and will come with its repercussions. Dogs are and always will be the living reminder of how tainted our history is as a whole. People of color deserve to exclusively own dogs as a form of restitution for their stolen ancestors' work. Supporting the idea of white dog ownership is spitting on the grave of past people of colored generations. Okay, with an International Dog Day coming up, it is important we remember and advocate for the work of people of color and never let this unbalanced history be forgotten. If you are white and own a canine, please consider donating them to a local person of color, family, or non-kill shelter so it can truly find a perfect home. What if you're a mixed race family? What if you're like a white man with a black woman, or a white man with a Hispanic woman, or a white man with an Indian woman, or a white man with a Pakistani woman, or a white man with a Eastern Asian woman, or a white man with a Native American woman? What if you're a white man with a half black, half white woman? Are you required to give up your dog now? Or on the organization's Twitter page, you can find the following. Donate your dog to a person of color family. Due to the ugly past being unearthed recently, owning a dog while being white is considered a mockery of people of color culture and creativity. Please consider handing off your loyal pooch to a person of color only shelter and help end past injustices. Yep. That's what this is all about. And this is the organization's thoughts about seahorses. Oh, don't worry, trans friends. Seahorses are now are now part of the alphabet community, and they're leaders of it. Since the male seahorse gives birth, the trans community is looking up to our fishy friends in order to break social norms above the tide. Supporting these creatures is vital to research kindness and security within our world. Okay, ridiculous. I love seahorses. I think they're really cool. They were one of my favorite animals when I was a little kid. I had a little dead seahorse that was preserved. I didn't know that the men gave birth to the babies, and that wouldn't have changed my opinion of them. But they're pretty cool animals. So I must be in support of the alphabet people, all right? And we all know that I'm not. So I followed the link to Dr. Gregor Larson's site that KD6 provides as proof of his beliefs. Honestly, I can't see how KD6 came to his conclusion from his scientist's research. Here is the quote from the site. I'm going to scoot this down so you don't get that ad as much. Dogs remain an enigma, however, not only because they were the first domestic animal, the only domestic whose appearance precedes the emergence of settled agriculture, but also because decades of archaeological and genetic research have failed to reveal where and how many dogs were domesticated. Establishing the origins of dogs is critical given their standing as the first domesticate. Because neither traditional zooarchaeological nor modern genetic approaches have been able to resolve where and how many times dogs were domesticated, we will combine ancient DNA and morphometric techniques to archaeological canid remains. So we don't even know where dogs come from. Who domesticated them first? Interesting fun fact here. I've heard anthropologists, archaeologists claim that the reason that Neanderthals died out was because they did not domesticate the dog, and the reason that Homo sapiens have survived through the last ice age or whatever was because of domestication of the dog. Neanderthals, mind you, were on Earth for a lot longer than Homo sapiens have been on Earth, so keep that in mind when considering that. In fact, Dr. Gregor Larson is linked to a site promoting a documentary called Made for Each Other that doesn't appear to be telling white people to give up keeping dogs as pets. Quite the contrary. In researching the loony ideas espoused by the United Wildlife Union, I wonder if this is just a one-off. But no, this actually seems to be a thing among the usual suspects. There is this article from PJ Media titled, "Liberals Tweet Goes Viral. White People Love Dogs Because They Miss Owning Slaves." Oh, yeah, that's what it's all about. Liberal Twitter user Danielle has a different explanation for people's love of dogs. However, wait, I should have written for white people's love for our canine comrades. According to her, white people love dogs so much because deep down they miss owning slaves. They love the owner and master dynamic, desperate for something to control. No, I think it's because people just kind of like that dynamic of having a companion who's faithful and loyal, and kind of like having a child. Only not as involved. Well, I mean, I don't think I need to read any more of this. It sounds like this United Wildlife Organization, is that what it's called? United Wildlife Union is just some sort of hack who thinks that he can say whatever he wants to say about white people and how evil they are. But, this just goes to show there's nothing is sacred in our society anymore. Everything has to be racist, especially if it's white. Now, look, here's the problem. If you want to complain that this country is racist, leave. I've said this before. Racism is a special category. Like, I'm not saying, hey, look, if you think there's something wrong with the United States, you should just leave it. Like it or leave it, no matter what. No. Racism is a special category because why would you live in a place if you had the option of going to another place if that place that you live in is going to attack you on your inherent base qualities? There's nothing you can do to stop it. It's just like it's a danger to you because of your basic qualities as a human being. I can't leave. There's really nowhere I can go because the whole Western world is anti-white and anti-male. So, I don't really have any option. I'm stuck here. Anyway, I saw this thing about about dog names being racist, and I just had to say something about it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get another video out this week. I have a lot of work coming up starting on today, Monday, and I'm going to be really busy, so I don't know when I'm going to be able to get a video out again. Hopefully this week, but it might not be. I might be down to once a week for a few weeks. So thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.